Are you looking for something that's unique, something special, something that's different from anything out there? A lot of you guys love these rust and patina things, but it's one of those things of like, what can you drive that actually works and could actually function as a daily driver? Well, this is your host Primo here, and we're out again at Basement Powersports and Spike Speed Shops to show you a rust monster that may actually fit the bill. 1, 2, 3. Hey everybody, welcome back to What It's Like to Drive. I'm your host, VIPPrimo, and today we are checking out a very special car. We're back here at Spike's Speed Shop and Basement Powersports in Brockton, Massachusetts, and as promised, I told you I was going to show you this car down the road, and here we are. So what makes this car so special? Well, it's pretty simple. This is really one of those cars that fits that bill of don't judge a book by its cover. The exterior for this vehicle was made to look custom, look patina. I mean, look at it. It looks amazing. But internally, it was made to be a daily driver. So unlike a lot of these other rust monsters that really kind of, and I don't want to say skimp, but they do things in a way that really don't allow for creature comforts. They don't think about their driver in mind. This car does. It thinks about all those little features. It thinks about the things that you as a driver would feel, and it tries to figure out how easy it would be for you to experience those things as well. So what are we going to go back to today like we always do? First, what it's like to drive. Second, what would it cost to build a car like this for yourself? And third, what are the pitfalls? One of the things that has to go with maintenance and things of that nature that you're going to have to think about on your daily drive down the road. So ready, guys? We're going to drive it right now. Okay guys, welcome to the inside of a 1960 Biscayne. This is a rust monster, so the big thing that you're going to see is there's not going to be any head thing, but it's not chopped. So unlike the caddies that we drove in the past, it's not tight on me. That's the first thing. The wheel is gigantic, so I'm a big dude, so I come in and my wheels kind of scrub when I get in here, so my legs are crunched up as I come in. But once I get in, very cool, very relaxed. It's got a big bench seat in it. No door frame pieces to speak of, but it's got a little lever to open the door. The one cool thing about this, it's still an automatic, but it used to be an automatic on the column. So now it's an automatic on the floor. So hopefully that's going to be a little bit easier for me to figure out. It is power brakes. So we have a winner compared to the last car that tried to kill me. So I don't think that this car has an intention of hurting me, but who knows, we're gonna find out shortly. So, okay, so I'm ready to get this thing in gear where I'm in. Whew, that thing is, I just went right into reverse. Like that was it was easier than my car to go into reverse. Okay, so I'm gonna do the old lean back thing. Making sure the front end, this thing is long, but it's not as long as the ones we've driven before. Oh, I love that. We're already getting looks, guys. That brake pedal's high. Oh my God. It's so funny that this thing is archaic, but it feels like generalized, like it just works. This wheel is huge. Like turning it is like, it gives a lot more angle to the turn, but the rear view, the blinker lights unsnap normally. They feel nice and smooth. Car has a lot of power. One thing that I love about these automatics is that they have a long stroke before the car starts making power, and it's a time for them to get really noisy. So if you hear that revving sound that's coming out, it's that second before it decides to shift and just take off on you. There we go. Is that loud enough? The other thing is it feels really well balanced. The air ride system, and we've said this before, air ride systems do a great job of balancing cars out. They make them feel natural and normal. It's something that I think a lot of cars should kind of think about when they're doing something with these, is consider an air ride system if you don't already have one. The displays on these are also huge. They're so easy to read, so easy to get used to. I know where everything is at. I definitely jumped right in this and just drives like a breeze. You guys would love this. There's not much difference between this car and the car you're going to daily drive. I know that sounds really weird and really awkward. There's a lot of things that have changed in this car it doesn't match the outside. The internals and the working parts of this drive like a new car, but the outside of it looks custom, looks, you know, patina, looks special. What's the speed limit in here? Why would the speed limit be enough to me to like kick this? This 5.3 liter, she's got some sack in there. She's hiding, I know. So these automatics are very intuitive about shifting and doing stuff. It makes it so you can just enjoy the drive. Oh yeah, I can daily drive this thing. It just feels so weird saying that too, because if you look at it on the exterior, it's not a car that would look like it's daily driving. Okay, so we got a really sharp turn here. I'm taking it a lot easier than I would normally if it was my car. But handle it no problem. Didn't feel any sway in the body, no body roll. Nice and solid, sure-footed. This is the kind of car I feel like, even though it looks the way it looks, that I can put a set of racing tires on it and take it out to the track. Oil pressure, temp, fuel, volts. Man, I got everything in here. If it wasn't for copyright infringements, I'd let you guys listen to the sound system too. It's incredible. I want to add too, before this drive is over, this shifter that's in here, it is a park reverse neutral drive setup, just like any other automatic car. It is the easiest shifter I've ever shifted. Like, bar none, better than any car I've ever driven with. How responsive it is. Man, I'm just enjoying my Sunday drive. Alright, so we're back at the shop. I am very excited to review this. Okay guys, so what is it like to drive? I'm gonna say it, I've never been so impressed with a car. Exterior wise, custom perfection, sounds amazing, feels amazing. Internally driving though, it's one of the easiest cars I've ever driven. In fact, I think this car internally is easier to drive than most new cars that I've driven. Now, how frightening is that, to be able to get into something and say, hey, custom wise, we can make a car that's better than you. I find that impressive, and I find that awesome at the same time. Okay, so what are the positives of it? Pretty easy, simplicity to drive. The shifter is easy to shift. In fact, it was probably the easiest thing I've ever shifted in my life. Felt very stable on the road. Drive quality was easily a 9 or a 10. Everything about this section, the bench seats, this is something that we've lost in the world of having a bench seat to sit under and realizing that it's like driving a sofa. The problems that we had back then were really that the cars that we drove delisted. They weren't made to be as luxury as like people like to let on to. They really didn't feel like luxury. This feels like luxury, and it really made me want to get back into a bench seat because of how nice and fluffy it felt. The last thing is the digital gauges. There's nothing tricky about it. Just look at the digital gauges. They're right there. There's obviously the old school dials that you have so you can view that, but also the little digital pieces, the odometer, the speeds, the little things that go into it that kind of give it that new feel were incredible. Now, one thing that we didn't get to go over, which I think is probably one of the best features in the car, is it has a Bluetooth stereo system. You can see from the videos here, it doesn't look like anything special about the radio system, but listening to it, playing it, it's incredible interior wise. Like I said, I wish I could play it in a way to capture it for you guys, but it is incredible. You got to take my word for it. If not, come down to Spike's, check it out for yourself. You will not be disappointed. So what are the negatives of this car? the steering wheel was really big. For a big guy like me, sitting in that steering wheel, just hitting my legs, getting in and getting out. I did bump my head getting out because of the curvature of the roof system. Those are things you would get used to. The thing that you probably wouldn't get used to is the droning sound. When it comes to the exhaust, a lot of people would say, it would put a little bit more of a quiet exhaust on. The good thing is all those negatives are something you're either going to get used to or you can fix. You don't like a big steering wheel, go with a smaller steering wheel. Don't like that droning sound, do something with the exhaust so it's not loud exhaust. But I definitely would daily drive this. And that, I think today, if there's anything that we've learned from this experience, it's another car I want to buy. It's another car that I would like to own, and it's something that, like I said, take it to work every day and drive it. The tires are probably going to be cheaper than anything you've ever purchased before on the upkeep. I mean, seriously, how much do you have to wash a car that has rust on it? I mean, it probably would actually add character. So even in that case, you're set to go. Okay, so how much would it cost to own something just like this? Well, the easy part is finding the car. That's going to be $2,500 to $3,000 at most. There's a lot of cars out there that you can find that, you know, probably the same kind of condition that somebody would want to get off their lot for whatever. You don't have to get something perfect. Do make sure that you have a car that has a good frame to it, that has a good sound internal structure, because you don't want to get something that you can't build off that platform where you have to restore the entire body. But that's what I'm saying. Just find something that's solid. That's it. Find something in an area that doesn't have a lot of rust in it. There's a good chance that you're going to find something good, and you can get creative with it. Now, the aftermarket stuff is going to be a little bit more expensive. This car has disc brakes all the way around, something that I would highly recommend. This has the air ride system, which is highly recommended, with a sound system and all the other things added in, not counting if you have an engine in it or if you do have an engine, which is going to sway one way or the other. So I would say anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to do something like this. And this is something that Spike Speed Shop obviously excels at. And you could go either way. You could say, hey, I'm going to put a lot of this stuff in it, or I'm going to put a little bit less. You don't have to go too crazy. Maybe you don't want to have, maybe you want to keep the shifter on the column. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But like I said, it's especially with the air ride. The air ride is probably the big thing at probably around $7,500. But like I said, with putting anything else into it, $10,000 to $15,000 to have this car the way it is. So that really is not that big a deal. That's less than most of these big cars out here you're going to buy new. So I don't see why more people don't look into cars like this, have a project, have somebody that puts it together. And like I said, either weekend warrior or daily driver, a car you bring to the show or a car you just enjoy, this car is going to make the grade. Okay, so what is the upkeep like? Well, this is the fun part, because this has a 5.3 liter engine in it. It's a famous Chevy engine. It's one of those engines that people put in all their cars, and there's a reason why they put in their cars, because it's a strong engine. It's one of those engines you don't have to do a lot of upkeep. So if you can do oil changes, if you can, I don't know, change transmission fluid, whatever you want, there's not going to be a lot of maintenance with that side of it. So that's it for us here at What It's Like to Drive. This car was amazing. I have to say, Spike's Speed Shop needs to be really proud of what they did with this. Few cars that I have driven have lived up to the hype that this car has. This thing met or exceeded every expectation I have. The only negatives I have to this are really just personal things. They have nothing to do with the overall aesthetics of the car. Overall, this car is easily a 10, and I have no problem saying that whatsoever. So like I said, these guys should be proud of it. They've already said we need to come back out and check out some of their other cars before we even gave them positive reviews. So if this is what they did on a whim, I definitely want to come out for something that they've put 100% into, with a design team and really thrown their insanity into one single vehicle. I myself cannot wait to do it. So like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys for enjoying this 1960 Biscayne with us. So guys, don't forget to check out some of these other videos. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell, because you don't want to miss any of these future cars, because we're going to be out again on the lookout for the next awesome car, the next awesome upgrade, the next big thing, and then we're going to show you what it's like to drive.